This conversation around Carlos King did not start overnight. It has been slowly building for years, and now it has reached a point where people are no longer whispering. They're speaking out loud. Carlos King is known as a talented producer, someone praised for his storytelling skills and his ability to create moments that keep viewers watching. Many people respect his work. Many people still do. But respect does not cancel accountability, and that is where this debate begins. Viewers are now questioning whether Carlos crossed a line, not creatively, but morally. The accusation being discussed online is serious. People believe he allowed real pain, real trauma, and real emotional collapse to be used as entertainment. More specifically, they believe Melody Shari's suffering was turned into a storyline and then consumed by audiences without care for the long-term damage it caused her. This is not about one bad episode or one bad decision. This is about a pattern that viewers feel they can no longer ignore. The moment that truly reignited this debate came during a conversation Carlos was part of, where language was used that felt painfully familiar to fans of Love and Marriage Huntsville. When the phrase prostituting our pain and calling it reality television was said, it landed heavily. For many viewers, it did not feel like a general statement. It felt direct, it felt personal, and it felt like a mirror being held up to Melody's experience on that show. Melody did not simply go through a divorce on television. What she experienced was much deeper than that. She faced public humiliation, betrayal, gaslighting, and isolation, all while cameras were rolling. Her lowest moments were not handled with care. Instead, they were filmed, edited, and turned into content. While she was trying to survive emotionally, the show kept moving forward as if her pain was just another plot point. What hurt many viewers the most was how Melody was framed during this time. Despite being the one who was cheated on, lied to, and emotionally worn down, she was often presented as the problem. When she spoke up, she was labeled angry. When she set boundaries, she was called bitter. When she refused to play along, she was described as difficult. The question viewers keep asking is simple. Why was Melody treated like the villain in her own story? Another question that refuses to go away is why Martell was allowed to remain on the show for so long. His behavior raised serious concerns. Revenge porn allegations, harassment, and repeated public humiliation of Melody were all known to the audience. For many viewers, this should have been enough to remove him from the show. Instead, he stayed. Not only did he stay, but he was often reframed in ways that softened his actions. There were moments where narratives were pushed that made viewers uncomfortable. At one reunion, language was used suggesting Martell loved Arion, framing their relationship as something meaningful. To many viewers, that narrative felt dishonest. Martell's actions did not show love. They showed control, entitlement, and a lack of accountability. When a producer supports or repeats a narrative like that, it shapes how the audience understands the situation. That power matters. The dynamic between Martell and Arion also raised red flags. Viewers observed a pattern where Martell operated from a place of superiority, while Arion appeared to operate from insecurity. That kind of dynamic often benefits people who need control. Many viewers believe this is why Arion defended Martell so aggressively, and why she may have participated in actions that further humiliated Melody. This dynamic was not about love, it was about usefulness. Throughout all of this, Melody was expected to sit in the same rooms, film with the same people, and smile through the pain. She was encouraged to reconcile. She was encouraged to stay. She was told things like, "Not all men cheat," as if that minimized what she went through. Instead of being supported, she was pressured to carry the emotional burden so the show could continue smoothly. When Melody finally pushed back, when she finally said enough, the response was not empathy, it was resistance. Certain cast members became defensive, her feelings were dismissed, and when she called that out, she was labeled difficult. This pattern is not new, and it is not unique to Melody. Strong women who demand accountability are often framed as aggressive, while harmful behavior is excused as complicated. This is where the phrase prostituting pain becomes uncomfortable but necessary. Melody's suffering became profitable. Her tears drove ratings. Her breakdowns fueled online discussions. Her trauma kept people watching. When pain becomes profitable, systems begin to tolerate behavior they should shut down. That is the core of this conversation. When Melody finally left the show, the reaction was telling. People said she quit. People said she could not handle it. But the truth is much simpler. She chose herself. She removed herself from an environment that did not protect her. And the fact that she had to walk away from something she helped build makes this story even more painful. This is why many viewers say the show failed Melody. And because Carlos King was the executive producer, he cannot fully escape responsibility for what happened. That does not mean he is evil. It does not mean he lacks talent. It means he held power, and power comes with responsibility. What makes this conversation bigger than Melody alone is that viewers have noticed similar patterns across other projects connected to Carlos. Women placed in volatile environments, boundaries ignored for the sake of confrontation, discomfort dismissed because the footage was good, cast members speaking out only after the damage was done. Aisha spoke about feeling misrepresented and sexualized in ways that did not align with her values. Her concerns were not taken seriously. Gucci faced situations where restraining orders were overlooked to create dramatic moments. Selena was placed into unstable and unsafe situations in the name of entertainment. These stories are different, but the pattern feels familiar. This is why viewers say Carlos needs to become more humane with his cast. Not biased, not overly friendly, just human. Reality television does not have to destroy people to succeed. Conflict does not have to come at the cost of someone's mental health. Another thing viewers have noticed is how strong, intelligent women are often framed as threats instead of assets. Melody was strategic. She was self-aware. She used the platform to build a brand rather than burn herself down for ratings. And ironically, that may be why she became a problem. She did not allow herself to be consumed by the system. When viewers look at other relationships on the show now, such as Kimmi and Maurice, they notice cracks. Disrespect, imbalance, and emotional distance have been shown on screen. Yet when the audience points this out, there is surprise. But the audience is not imagining things. The show itself has revealed these dynamics. This is what happens when dysfunction becomes normal. Melody recognized this early. Instead of staying and allowing it to break her further, she left. That decision required courage, and instead of being respected, it was questioned. This is why people are holding Carlos accountable now, not because they want to cancel him, not because they deny his talent, but because when you sit at the center of a system that profits from pain, you must own your role in that system. The phrase prostituting our pain struck a nerve because it named something viewers have felt for years, but struggle to explain. It explained why watching the show sometimes felt uncomfortable. It explained why certain storylines felt cruel rather than entertaining. Reality television does not have to be exploitation, but when pain becomes currency, exploitation is exactly what it becomes. Melody survived something that would have broken many people. She left with her dignity, her brand, and her future intact. And that is why this conversation matters. She did not just walk away from a show, she walked away from being sacrificed for entertainment. And now, people are finally calling that what it is. Looking deeper into this pattern, viewers have noted that Carlos King's shows often reward drama at the expense of human well-being. It is not that he does not know what he is doing. In fact, Carlos is extremely skilled at pacing, creating tension, and keeping audiences hooked. His work on Real Housewives of Atlanta, especially season 6, is often called a masterpiece of reality television. That season is remembered for its emotional highs and lows, its unforgettable conflicts, and its ability to make viewers feel like they were inside the lives of the cast. That is part of why Carlos has so much influence. He knows how to tell a story. But the problem arises when this skill intersects with real human suffering. Audiences feel that being good at producing drama is not enough. There is a line between storytelling and exploitation, and according to many fans, that line was crossed during Melody's time on Love and Marriage Huntsville. While she was experiencing real heartbreak, real betrayal, and real humiliation, the cameras kept rolling. Every tear, every argument, every moment of vulnerability was recorded, edited, and broadcast. It became entertainment for viewers who may not have fully considered the human cost behind what they were watching. The debate often comes back to the idea of protection versus production. Reality television has always been about pushing boundaries and capturing conflict, but viewers increasingly question at what point responsibility must be applied. Melody, in particular, was exposed to situations that worsened her trauma. Instead of shielding her, the show capitalized on it. The audience watched as she navigated a marriage falling apart, gaslighting, and public judgments, all while being expected to smile for the camera and continue participating in storylines. That imbalance between her personal experience and her role on the show is a key point in the ongoing discussion about Carlos King's approach. Another important point is the power of narrative framing. Producers decide how people are perceived. In Melody's case, her assertiveness, her self-awareness, and her attempts to set boundaries were often framed negatively. When she spoke up or refused to participate in certain manipulative situations, she was painted as aggressive or difficult. On the other hand, others who contributed to her pain, such as Martell, were often protected or reframed to appear sympathetic or misunderstood. This selective framing has long-term effects on audience perception, and viewers are increasingly aware of that influence. Many people point out that Martell's continued presence on the show is one of the clearest examples of this problem. Allegations against him, including revenge porn and harassment, should have warranted removal. Yet he stayed, and his actions were often justified or softened by production decisions. By allowing this, the show not only failed Melody, it created a system in which harmful behavior could continue without consequence. This creates a toxic environment, not only for the cast, but also for viewers who are trying to understand what is real and what is being manipulated for entertainment.